Listen, I hate on all day long, okay? I'm a hater. I'm a hater on several people. You know, I got hate in my heart for a lot. I'll tell you right now. I got hate in my heart for a lot. I could be a hater. Sure as hell, I drink that haterade every day. Okay, so this video is called All the Controversy / Drama Surrounding Gypsy Rose Blanchard After Prison Release So Far Part 1. And I haven't watched this one yet, just to let y'all know. And that's why I'm doing these live streams, because I need people to keep me focused, and y'all are the people. So, and let's go.
Welcome back to Share Stories with me, Gypsy Kim, and today I have a quick update for you guys if you're following the case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Who isn't? I did cover her case with details in my very first video upload right here on this channel, which was only 2 weeks ago. So take a look at that if you want to be all caught up, since I won't be going over the nuances of her case in this episode. I also gave you guys an initial update video where I discussed her appearance on a popular talk show called The View, and we went over some of the questions that she was asked and her responses to those questions. But today, I wanted to catch y'all up on all of the random controversy surrounding this woman, thanks to the good old internet, where we can always count on the crazies, the snowflakes, and angry villagers to come full swing with the virtual pitchforks. So,
yes! Yes! I love how... Okay, wait a minute. We gotta make this go faster. Alright, let's go 1.25. Yes! How she just described that is... exactly it. That is exactly how it is. All right, we'll just say 45 seconds. All right.
So, where do I even start? In no particular order, I'm going to cover the following subjects as it relates to our girl Gypsy Rose here. The unreported by her grandfather, working with Kim Kardashian on prison reform. Gypsy's new husband, Ryan, is a problem for some reason. She can't be in the state of Missouri. She's trying to milk her mom's for fame and riches. Gypsy's tendency to share TMI for no apparent reason. What happens when Gypsy gets triggered again? And a show called Prison Wives? Missouri Misery. Upon release from the prison, Gypsy was almost immediately ordered to leave the state of Missouri, along with her family, who had already rented a home nearby for her to stay at while adjusting to her release. Her father had been sending her money while she was in prison. Good God, can this man not have his flowers already? We need to celebrate more dads like this one. Anyway, she apparently was using some of the money to buy Taylor Swift's music while she was in jail, and she is a huge fan, aka Swiftie. Reportedly, her parole officer got word that she and her family needed to pack up and leave the state due to all of the media attention surrounding her release. This unfortunate situation means that Gypsy would not be able to catch the Chiefs game that was supposed to be happening the Sunday following her release, and despite having bought tickets...
Is part of the problem that she used that money to buy Taylor Swift's music? Are we that desperate to get on her about that? Are we really trying to cancel her for that? I mean, what?
Tickets for that game months ago, she would not be able to see Taylor Swift. It seems that her presence is considered a so-called security risk for...
Yeah, she was going to... You know, I find it amazing that... Okay, here's my whole thing about Gypsy Rose. It's amazing to me that people actually expect her to be normal. It is absolutely amazing to me that normal people expect her to be like them. How can anyone expect her to be any kind of normal? I absolutely don't get it. I absolutely 100% do not get it. You know? And yeah, she was buying a ticket to hopefully meet Taylor Swift. Yeah. Do you know how many crazed fans do shit like that? Gypsy Rose is not a normal human being. She has never lived a normal life until now. She has never had a normal life, ever. Her first normal was when she was in prison. Yeah, people literally mortgage their houses to be able to go to a concert like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And those are the normal people doing it. You know, just saying.
For the Kansas City area. Now, what does this have to do with Taylor Swift? According to the news outlets, Gypsy and her husband had plans to go to this game set in stone for months, and attending the Kansas City Chiefs game was supposed to be in hopes of meeting Taylor Swift, who they thought might be there to cheer on her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. Is that how you say his name? I don't follow sports, so I don't know, sorry. But can I just say, you're only going to the game to see somebody who might be there as a spectator? This is not at all stalkerish behavior, right? I mean, I got my own handful of parasocial relationships with my favorite YouTubers and celebrities. Hi, Sachi. Hi, Christina. Hello, Denzel. I love you so much. I want to marry you. You're my soulmate. Please say you love me. But going so far as to buy tickets to something that I am not that interested in the hopes of not just getting a glimpse, but actually meeting these people, I don't know. Maybe I'm not passionate or delusional enough, depending on how you want to look at it, to assume that these people would not be completely weirded out if I approached them like, yo, listen, your content has been keeping me from going crazy for the past 8 years that I've been locked up for. Can we take a selfie? Even with the autistic mind that I have, I know that this does not even sound right. But nonetheless, I do think it's kind of crazy that you could be kicked out of a state by the police. Do they actually have the authority legally to do that? I mean, I wouldn't have left. It's still a free country if you ask me.
She's still under parole. Yeah, they absolutely can kick her out of that state. They absolutely can. They could order her, you can't go back to Louisiana if they wanted to. Remember, she's on parole. You know? So they absolutely can do that. Yeah, exactly, bae. They still own your ass until it's done. Exactly. Parole ain't freedom.
And unless they told her in writing with potential consequences named and had a signature from Gypsy Rose Blanchard agreeing to those terms, I think they might have lined themselves up for a lawsuit or something like, I'm coming for you if you try to kick me out to stay on some bullshit. She is on parole, so maybe she just got spooked and she was like, oh no, I ain't trying to take no chances. I ain't trying to go back to that place. No. Maybe that's why she just left. What would you do? Child by granddad. So, in this recently aired docuseries on Lifetime called The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Gypsy Rose opens up about something really heavy. She says that she went through a really tough time as a kid, obviously, but she also claims that her grandfather, Claude Petra, did some really awful stuff. Just to give you a bit of background, Gypsy Rose is known for being a victim of Munchausen by proxy. She just got out of prison at the end of December 2023, very, very recently, after serving 8 years for the 2015 her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, who was very cruel and very to her. Now, in an exclusive chat with People, Gypsy Rose is standing her ground, repeating that her grandfather had her when she was a child, and this went on for about a year. She's basically saying, I reached a point where I can speak up about it and not let it affect me anymore. I watched a portion of the interview where the grandfather was confronted by a reporter with these allegations, and he vehemently, denied the accusations. He went even further to say that it was actually Gypsy at the age of 4 that would try to touch him inappropriately, and he...
What for? Oh. Okay, look. I know we're in the age of like proof and you need proof, etc., etc. But when an adult is telling you it was the 4-year-old trying to touch me appropriately, for me, myself, and I don't need any more proof than that. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're literally shifting the blame to a 4-year-old. To a 4-year-old. Bro, are you kidding me?
He would have to tell her no and to stop what she was doing. Now, when she was told her grandfather's response, Gypsy stated that she didn't want to have anything to do with him. She said that she would have respected it more if he had just admitted that he had done it so that they could kind of move on. She states that her reasons for speaking up now is in hopes that by talking about this, it might prevent him from hurting anybody else. Okay, that is pretty heavy stuff. However, a few questions come to light here as I am reflecting on this situation. And these questions are not coming from a place where I don't believe her or I'm taking sides or anything like that. They're just questions that any critical thinker would naturally or should have, but y'all tell me what y'all think about it in the comments. Okay, I just want to disclaim here, I myself have suffered as a child. So I'm not just coming from this situation like, okay. No, I don't like it when people use like the Me Too movement and things like that just to have some kind of platform to stand on and scream and shout that everybody's being a predator, when there's really people who go through this stuff and can't even ask for help, don't know where to go, don't know what to do to get themselves out of these situations, and they're not even believed when people ask them about it and they try to tell the truth. So it irks me when there are women or anybody out there who will try to use as a way to gain like sympathy from people or try to make people feel bad for them or take them more seriously when it didn't really happen. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why you will hear me questioning these kinds of allegations.
Wait. Oh my God. Oh my God. What? No. We're gonna listen. We're gonna listen. Now we have to hear all sides. Okay?
Allegations on behalf of the people who really have to go through this kind of stuff. Like, let's not make it so that it's difficult for more people to be heard. All right. So first I want to know if her concern was that her grandfather being exposed might help prevent this from happening to another kid. Why has she only ever mentioned this as she was about to be released from prison? Why have we never heard about these allegations in all of the years that she's been in the spotlight for her crime? As much as I sympathize with any child who has to go through something like that, what she's describing here, I just wonder why it was never factored in after psychiatric evaluations were done, therapy was conducted, all sorts of authorities were involved in her case. I don't.
Oh God. Oh my God. Okay, look. Ma'am. You can't tell anyone when they're ready to speak about what happened to them. And she could have very well spoke about it with people that couldn't go around telling everybody what she spoke about, like as in therapists, etc., etc. She could have said something to them. She just didn't say it to the public. You can't have that air of telling people when they cannot speak about something. Like, what? Come on now. And I mean, think about what the grandfather's answer was. Oh no, at 4 years old, she was touching me inappropriately. So to me, that kind of backs up what she was saying about him.
I don't even think her other family members have heard about this until it was made known public in this documentary. Now, this does not mean that Gypsy is necessarily lying, but it is possible she might be misremembering something that happened at a very young age, or perhaps regurgitating something that she heard somebody else, like her manipulative mother, for instance, talking about when she was young. Wait. But it is possible she might be misremembering something that happened at a very young age.
You read out what the grandfather said. He shifted the blame to a 4-year-old in... Oh my God. He shifted the blame to a 4-year-old that inappropriately touched him was his answer. And you're saying that she's misremembering things? You read out what he said. And you... Girl. Come on now. Come on now. Why would he give an answer like that?
Or perhaps regurgitating something that she heard somebody else, like her manipulative mother, for instance, talking about when she was young. Just for an example, this is really customary for people who practice parental alienation to do with their kids to turn them against the other parent. They'll sometimes say things like, around the kid, they'll talk to other people and they'll be like, yeah, he's kid and I don't like the way he's looking at her, I don't like the way he's touching her, I don't like the way he's...
Okay, things like that, no, she has a point. That does happen. That does happen. And that does cause the child to either misremember something later on in life because they're going off what they heard. However, the grandfather still said the 4-year-old was touching him inappropriately. I mean, what? Yeah, I get her point if it was like, okay, if his answer wasn't like that, and if his answer was, I think that was something Gypsy was told, by her mother, and we all knew her mother was crazy, and then I would understand that. That right there, I'd be like, it's unsubstantiated, we don't really know, because we know how Gypsy's mother was. But if you take this explanation, which does happen and which she's giving, and then you take what the grandfather said, that's two totally different things. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. That is two totally different things. No. Anyway, alright, we're gonna keep going.
Gypsy did mention that, quote, I wasn't ready to open up about certain things in my life at that time, and now I am. And so, I'm really sharing my whole truth, end quote. Again, she could just be talking about this stuff now because she has the confidence to talk about it now, and she was uncomfortable talking about it before. But again, when I see red flags, I have to point them out. It concerns me that she's using this term, my truth, because what does that even mean? Like, people will say my truth as if that is the truth, but that doesn't necessarily mean it really happened. It could just...
Like what the grandfather said wasn't a red flag. Girl. Ma'am. It was a whole red flag what the grandpa said. I'm just saying. Oh my God. And guess what? It is her truth. You know why it's her truth? Because it's her life.
Be your perception of things. So there's really no way to know for sure what happened here, but I found this to be quite controversial, and I don't know what will come of it. I guess we just gotta wait and see. Kim Kardashian tag team. This one really threw me for a loop. So I found the statement made by Gypsy regarding Kim Kardashian and working with her to change prison reform systems in the United States. It would be cool. She has that huge platform for prison reform, and I have been in prison. So having those two elements, I think we could do some good in the world. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, fresh out of prison, has her eyes on teaming up with none other than Kim Kardashian for some serious prison reform action. Okay, so far so good. They haven't had no sit-downs yet, but Gypsy is pretty hyped about learning from Kim's experience in the justice system and her impactful work on prison reform. Okay, so far so good. Now that Gypsy's out, she still sees Kim as a potential partner in her mission, and news outlets are spinning the story as though they might join forces if everything aligns. Gypsy believes that Kim's know-how can help her navigate the social media scene and boost her advocacy for prison reform. Okay, even up to here, that seems reasonable. Despite the so-called shout-out on social media, they have not directly connected yet, big surprise, but the internet is ever hopeful that the doors are wide open for a future collab. Well, here's where things go a little bit down a hill. There are some accusations flying around about Gypsy seeking attention through these means, but the people that are close to her swear up and down that her commitment to using her platform for prison reform is the real deal. Here I go with my skepticism. Not really, I'm just a critical thinker. On that list of documentaries that were recommended by Kim K, you will see shows like The Tiger King, The Jinx, and probably a handful of others where the story is not really favoring the people that are showcased. So that tells me, even if your case was mentioned on that list that she posted, it doesn't necessarily mean that Kim K thinks that you don't deserve to be in prison for your crime, or that she's supporting you in any sense of the word. None of those. I don't think it's too smart on Gypsy's end to read too much into Kim K making a post that included a handful of documentaries about crimes, including Gypsy's. Like the way that it's been spun in the media, it's almost like Gypsy personally thinks that Kim Kardashian is sympathizing with her because she made that, but she's looking at it like it's
I don't think it's about sympathy. I see it as Gypsy Rose has a lot of media attention, all right? It was a whirlwind when she got let out of prison, all right? So she has seen what Kim Kardashian is doing for prison reform. She just got out of prison. She's got internet fame. She just took her shot at going, hey, Kim K, I would love to talk to you about prison reform. Because she was literally just got out of prison. I think she was shooting her shot. I don't think it's, oh my God, Kim K loves me. I don't think it's that. I just think she was just shooting her shot going, hey, I just got out of prison. I can tell you firsthand how it was. You know, that's how I took it.
A lot of people still like her. Her brands are selling like hotcakes. All of her business endeavors are a success regardless of what people personally might feel about her. You feel me? So does she really need the collab with Gypsy Rose in order to make something happen? I don't know. I'm just saying, if it was me, if I was Kim K, I would just be like, oh, that's cute. That's cute that she thinks that I'm shouting her out. Next, trigger warning. Okay, so this is another concern that I think a lot of people are wondering about, because we all know what Gypsy did when she felt cornered by her mother, right? But now that she's an adult and she's free, curious, like, has that tendency changed? I did hear her say on The View that she handled it the wrong way, that she does take responsibility for what she did and the part that she played in the whole thing. However, since that time, we've had more people who have had interactions with Gypsy in and out of prison that have come forward and given their takes on how they view Gypsy. For example, on the Good Wives Network over on YouTube, you'll hear an interview with a prison worker who was there with Gypsy while she was incarcerated, and she talks about how, in her opinion, it seemed as if Gypsy was very manipulative. That being said, I think I've mentioned in my...
Okay. Again, let me present the court with this, okay? The court of public opinion. Let me present this to you. Do you honestly believe for 1 second that she wouldn't have picked up how to be manipulative when her mother literally made her lie? When her mother literally made her go through medical procedures to push that lie? Gypsy Rose knew she could walk, but she still sat her in that wheelchair. Okay? So don't you think she would have picked up on some of that? I present to you yet again, Gypsy Rose is not normal. She has never lived a normal life. She has never been treated as a normal person. So what makes y'all think that she's going to come out of prison like a normal person when her first aspect of normal life was prison? Normal people do not go through what she went through. And I'm watching these videos, and it's not just this one. I watched some video today, okay? And this girl done said, I was abused by my mother, and I would have never thought about her. Okay? Okay, great. That's you. But just because you process your trauma in one way, it doesn't mean that everybody processes trauma the same. There is no one way of dealing with trauma because everybody deals with it differently.
Initial video where I talked about Gypsy's case, that I also noticed a lot of manipulative tactics on her part when she was being questioned by the police officers. And if you just don't know to pick up those signs, it can very easily be looked at like it's all innocent. You know, it's just a misunderstanding. It's not on purpose. But when people are being manipulative, they know what they're doing. They know that they are changing the way that they are presenting themselves in order to get the other person to do what they want them to do, to cooperate with them in some way. I'm not saying this is bad necessarily. Sometimes you do have to be manipulative to survive in certain situations. Like, you know, you ever hear those stories about people who get abducted and then they pretend that they're in love with their abductors and get them to trust them so that they can put their guard down and then find an escape? And that has worked for many people. In a situation like that, absolutely you should be as manipulative as you need to be to live, right? But
everybody's manipulative in one way or another. Everybody is manipulative one way or another. If I sit here and try to lie to y'all and say I've never been manipulative, y'all would be dumb to believe me. Everybody, and if they tell you they never have, they're being manipulative and lying to your ass. Everybody is manipulative in one way or the other.
But, you know, when your life is not in danger and it's not a situation where your survival is at stake, this could cause a problem in your relationships with people when they see you as someone who's deceptive or manipulative. The prison worker talks about how, in the beginning, even though she wasn't supposed to, for a long time, Gypsy had been trying to sneak communications with Nick Godejohn over the years. And yet, towards the end of her prison sentence, when she realized that it was not going to be in her best interest to be communicating with Nick, she said she just stopped trying to communicate with him altogether. But because initially she wasn't supposed to be talking to him, the worker was saying that she noticed a lot of manipulative behaviors that she would engage in order to get people to pass notes for her.
Okay, wait a minute. So we're going to act like Gypsy Rose is the only person who has been in prison trying to manipulate the system to pass a note to somebody? Are we really doing this right now? Since the beginning of prison itself, in time, there have always been people trying to pass notes, trying to pass messages, It is normal in prison life. Again, may I please let the people know, her first even inkling of normal life was in prison. Holy sh! And I'm going to be honest with you. Thank you, Jada. Thank you for saying that. She had to be manipulative in prison in order to survive it. Guess what? Everybody there does. You have to do what you have to do in prison to survive it.
Her to Nick, so that's maybe a red flag. The worker also stated that Gypsy didn't like her specifically. I guess maybe because she wasn't playing into these little tactics that...
Oh wait, so the worker said that Gypsy didn't like her specifically. Gee, I wonder why that prison worker is speaking out. Gypsy, big name. Oh, well, Gypsy didn't like me. You worked in the prison. I'm pretty sure Gypsy isn't the only one who doesn't like you. I'm pretty sure of it. I mean, what? Just saying.
Gypsy might use to try to get her to do her favors or something, or be lenient with her. She says that Gypsy tried to get her moved to a different pod by lying to the authorities and saying that she and Gypsy knew each other outside of the prison system, which would have been a conflict of interest, which means that they would have to remove the worker to a different portion of the jail where they're not going to bump into each other. This is all alleged. I don't know if there's any proof of this, but I mean, I don't know what this person would have to gain from talking about something like this. If anything,
I mean, I don't know. Like, interview by national networks or something. I don't know. What would they have to gain from it? I don't know. Paid to talk on a talk show or a documentary or anything like that. I mean, what would they have to gain? Oh my God. Yeah. What?
I'd be scared I would lose my job, you know? Honestly, it's really not out of the ordinary at all for people who grew up in these highly abusive situations or with very narcissistic parents to learn how to be manipulative in order to navigate their social relationships, especially someone with Gypsy's background. I don't think that we're being over the top here to say that she's probably lacking in normal social skills and social norms that would help her to navigate relationships with people outside of a prison system. Because y'all, if you don't know anything about prison, I'm telling you, prison culture is completely different than how things are in real life, okay? Can see how these dynamics may have shifted the way that she thinks that relationships work with people. But in Gypsy's ebook, she states that her faith in God is what she ultimately will be relying on as she leaves the prison system when she's facing tough times. You know, what happens the next time she feels threatened in some way, like she did with her mother. It kind of scares me a little bit, concerns me a little bit of like what level of trappedness would Gypsy feel like she needed to be at, you know? How far against the wall does her back need to be pushed up against it before she comes to the realization one day, oh, I might have to off this person because I don't know how to get out of this situation again. I don't...
Okay. Oh God. Okay. So one thing that is severely pissing me off about this whole Gypsy Rose cancellation thing, people have a tendency to go, I don't know if, okay, so for the ones who go, I don't know if she'll reoffend, and then you have people saying, I don't think she would reoffend. I need people to actually stop and try to put yourself in Gypsy Rose's shoes. And here's the funny part. A very tiny percent of you would be able to do that. The life that Gypsy Rose had, very few people go through. No one besides people who actually been through that can imagine how bad that was. And I hate this pompous attitude toward Gypsy, where it's like, well, I dealt with this and I didn't deal with it that way. I grew up like this and I didn't deal with it that way. Did you grow up like Gypsy Rose did? Did you grow up like she did? Did you go through the same things as Gypsy Rose? You can't tell her how to deal with it. Guess what? You know how she took accountability? They gave her a prison sentence and she went through it. They gave her the prison sentence. She didn't walk into court and go, I think I'm only going to do 10 years. She didn't do that. They gave her that prison sentence. She worked through that prison sentence. She is now on parole from that prison sentence. Yes, she took her accountability. She has been going around saying, yeah, she now knows what she did was wrong. What more do y'all want from her? And then it's funny because people will push the narrative of, well, she's actually evil. She's actually evil. Guess what? Go to John. He wasn't an innocent boy before he did what he did either. He wasn't innocent at all. He wasn't exactly normal either. By a long shot. Did we forget about him in public in the McDonald's? Did we forget about how he had multiple personalities? Did we forget about all that? Now, I understand where people are saying he shouldn't be in prison. He should be in a mental health facility. I get that. Sure. I can agree to that. I can definitely agree to that. But people are putting Go to John on this pedestal like, I'm sorry, I don't want someone like him walking around. I'm sorry. I do not want someone like him walking around. And I see her as in she was in a desperate situation. Remember when she tried to run away and her mother caught her within a day? Do we remember that? Do we remember that she actually tried to run away? She tried to do it the right way as what she thought was the right way. Her mother was in the middle of gaining custody of her as an adult. And she got desperate.
No, in a time of desperation, I don't know if that would play a role in how someone makes their decisions. I've heard stories about people who had situations where they were defending themselves against somebody very abusive. They were allowed to kind of get away with it because it was considered a justifiable homicide. Then some years later, this same person who as a child may have committed a crime like this, they get away with it. When they get older and they're in a similar position, they react the exact same way and they just get away with it. Or they think they're going to get away with it because they did the first time. I've heard numerous stories like this, so I don't want this story.
Okay, I'm going to tell you flat out. If her husband ends up doing the same shit to her that her mother did, I won't feel sorry for him either. I won't feel sorry for anybody who did what her mother did to a child. I don't feel sorry for Gypsy Rose's mother. I'm sorry. You know what? It's less taxpayer money going towards her living. I'm just saying. She should rot in prison. No, because I don't want my taxpayer money feeding her. What I didn't like is Gypsy Rose going to podcast saying I'm not a he's the one that did it. You know what? She's not a because he is the one that did it. And she was a desperate, well, at that point, a woman. She was desperate. Life is full of situations. And sometimes desperate situations come up. And I feel like she thought that was a desperate situation she was in. Now, does she admit that she did wrong at her part? Yes. And legally, yeah, she did do wrong. Legally, she absolutely did wrong. 100%. And she served her time. The time they gave her. The sad thing is she's going to say and do a lot of f***ed up because she has never had a normal life until now. And she doesn't even have a normal life now because she is literally in a position where if she farts to the right, people are going to yell at her for not farting in the direction of left. That she can't even breathe the wrong way without somebody having to say something about it. She still doesn't live a normal life. And she's not going to. They're trying to cancel her for doing some funny ass TikTok talking about how good the D is. Oh, but we're going to jump down her throat for that. She can't even attempt to live a normal life without people jumping down her throat, bro. She can't do shit without these armchair psychologists, Mr. and Mrs. I'm on Twitter and I think I know everything. I'm on some kind of social media and I know everything, criticizing every little syllable that comes out of her goddamn mouth. Thank you, Donna. Yes, I agree with that. They are literally being her mom, watching her every move. Yes, do y'all understand that y'all have turned into her mom? You might as well stick the feeding tube back in her. You might as well tell her to shave her head. You might as well tell her to get back in that wheelchair. Because you know what? Y'all are trying to control her just like her mother did. Just in a different way on the internet. You know what I hope for? This is what I hope for. I hope Gypsy Rose go on TikTok, stick her both middle fingers up in the air and say, you know what? You don't like what I do on my social media? Off. That's what I hope for. Y'all want to see her be normal? That's the most normal response that she can give y'all. And let me tell you something. If she did it, I would premiere this shit on my channel. A Gypsy Rose update. Let me tell y'all what my girl did. I am so proud of her. She done told everybody f*** off. It is crazy. All right, let's finish this damn video. This girl got me all hyped up.
Now, in the Lifetime docuseries, Gypsy talks about her life and wanting to be an advocate, but that she's very aware that people are going to criticize her as a hypocrite for wanting to have a private life while also being in the limelight. And I can see where she's coming from with that. It is something that I think people are kind of looking at her sideways about. But she says that she sees her platform as a podium where her self-worth and identity can be showcased. Again, I know where you're coming from, boo, but this could be very dangerous for Gypsy, as isn't this what got her into the situation that she went through with her mom? Her mom being so obsessed with acting her way through life and pretending to be something she's not in exchange for attention and free perks really messed a lot of things up. I think that Gypsy would honestly benefit from taking like a year or two away from the spotlight and just focusing on her own mental health.
Yeah, but the thing is, she's not going to be able to stay away. You have people literally following her to go buy groceries. She can't get away from the spotlight. She would literally have to go like up in the mountains, at the top of the mountain, and not go anywhere to not be in the spotlight. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what?
It's okay to slow down. I know losing 8 years of your young adulthood and almost your entire childhood can mess with your head, but it's totally okay. As Corey Kenshin famously stated, I'm gonna pass these words on to you, girl. Social media is dangerous. Y'all listen, I know I joke a lot about having ADHD, but I really do have ADHD. And the way it works alongside my autistic trait of hyper-focusing on my interests, it's definitely confusing trying to get my mind to cooperate with itself. I have so much more to cover on this update for you guys, but my brain is freezing up on me and I really need to reboot it before I turn into a pumpkin. So we're gonna call this...
Okay, that's some real she just talked there about ADHD. That's some real because I go through that too. Just saying.
Part 1, and I will have a part 2 ready for y'all very shortly, so thank you so much for being patient and bearing with me. I really have a great time over here sharing these dark stories with all of you guys. In addition to my true crime series, I'm also working on a series entitled Tragic Turns, which is not based specifically on crimes, but just general misfortunes that befall people based on mental illness issues, abuse, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, or just not being aware of things that they could have prevented from happening. I'm always into those kind of stories where people might consider it a bit...
Okay, alright, I heard enough.